Leçon 12. Le passé. Le passé composé is one of the past tense that you can use when referring to a past event or an action that is done in the past. The format for le passé composé is subject pronoun, auxiliary verb, plus past participle. An example, j'ai parlé, I talked. The rule is when forming past participles with verbs that end in er, you remove the r at the end and then you put accent aigu on top of the e, which transforms it into a past participle. An example you can see, parler. However, there are verbs that don't follow this rule, such as avoir, être, faire, devoir. And you must know their past participle. It must be memorized. The past participle for avoir is eu, être, était, faire, fait, devoir, dû. For le passé composé, there are only two verbs that are used for auxiliary verbs. There are avoir and être. Majority of verbs use the verb avoir, but there are some verbs that use être. We call them movement and reflexive verbs. An important thing to note is that when you use the verb être as your auxiliary verb, gender counts. An example is je suis allé. If a female was saying this phrase, an e must be added at the end. Another example, nous sommes allés. Because nous is plural, you must add an s. However, if the nous is a group of females, you must add an e and then an s at the end of the past participle. Reflexive verbs follow the same rule when using the verb être as the auxiliary verb. So if you were to say, je me suis couché, if you are a female stating this phrase, you must add an e at the end. Before you use the list of the movement verbs that use the auxiliary verb être and their past participle. This must be memorized. Let's start with naître, which means to be born, past participle, né. Venir, to come, venu. Arriver, to arrive, arrivé. Entrer, to enter, entré. Monter, to go up or to get into, monter. Rester, to stay, rester. Descendre, to go down or to get out of, descendu. Tomber, to fall, tomber. Sortir, to go out, sorti. Partir, to leave, parti. Mourir, to die, mort. Reflexive verbs are verbs that action is done to oneself. The format for reflexive verbs is subject pronoun plus object pronoun plus verb. An example of an reflexive verb is se coucher, to go to bed. Sounded with first person singular, je me couche, tu te couches, il se couche, nous nous couchons, vous vous couchez, il se couche. La négation au passé, the format for forming negative sentences in the past in French is ne plus auxiliary verb plus pas plus past participle. Example, je ne suis pas allé au cinéma. Reflexive verbs follow a similar format, ne plus object pronoun plus auxiliary verb plus pas plus past participle. An example, je ne me suis pas couché.